Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Modern Woodcarver podcast. I'm your host, Michael. Woodcarving as a craft is nothing without the tools, and behind every great carving is a knife maker shaping steel into something that becomes an extension of the carver's hand. From commercial knives to high end independent makers, woodcarvers have always depended on quality, well made tools to bring their work to life. Independent knife makers play a huge role in this space, keeping the quality, innovation, and tradition of our tools alive. Over the course of these podcasts I've been hosting, there's been one name that has come up in almost every single episode for their high level of craftsmanship, innovation in tool development, and their involvement in the wood carving community. Today, I'm excited to be joined by Ashton and Libby from Badger State Blades. We'll dive into their journey as knife makers, learn about the history of their company, what it takes to build tools specifically for wood carvers, and why supporting independent makers is so important for the future of this craft. Ashton, Libby, thank you so much for joining me today. I'm happy to have you here.
Happy to be here. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, I'm really excited. Like I mentioned, everyone talks about your blades all the time. Um, the quality, the craftsmanship. There's not enough positive things that people say about your work, and I really can't wait to get a hold of one.
Happy to hear that because I feel like we had one of the best mentors out there. Um, Mostly me, unfortunately.
You didn't have much time, but
Oh,
you did have the mentor help.
we did have the mentor, but unfortunately, he did move across the country on me. So,
Yeah, so why don't you start at the beginning? How did Badger State become a thing?
well, Badger State became a thing because of some offhanded comment my grandfather made to me at breakfast one Sunday. He actually attended the Mountain Home Woodcarving Show in Arkansas, which is actually coming up in May. But he attended that show with Denny Neubauer. Um, they were judging that show. Denny, as some may know, was a big toolmaker, Denny Knives. Um, he was located in Iowa back when he was mass producing his tools. He sold his business in the mid 2000s, I believe, to Mike Shipley, who turned it into O Safety Tools. Um, while they were in Arkansas, my grandfather, Greg, and Denny had visited Mike, and Mike had just had a couple, um, I think he had a heart attack and some health issues. My grandpa had said something along the lines of woodcarvers would be in a real world of hurt if new makers didn't start coming on, yeah, coming on the scene because, folks are just aging out. It's hard to, it's not an
Yeah.
easy job.
Yeah, he's a teacher, so he was feeling the struggle of finding tools and that kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, if anybody knows what it's like to sit on a waiting list with any of the makers, it's a long waiting list usually. But anyways, he made that comment and it stuck with me for a while. Um, I had been not so happy with my job at the time and decided that if anybody could get into it, I could. So we called up our good buddy Denny, and he took me under his wing to teach me a thing or two.
Crash course.
Crash course. And then he was located in Rockford, Illinois, which is about a 4-hour drive from where we are in Wisconsin. So it was pretty convenient to go back and forth on the weekend to hang out, get a little knowledge from him. But it was pretty unfortunate when he dropped the bomb on me that he was going to move to Arizona.
Pretty sudden.
Mm.
It's a pretty big drive. I think it's like a 24-hour drive now.
I think it was 26, 27. Yeah.
But he moved back in, I think that was the fall of 2023, maybe. Which around that same time was when I brought Libby on. When I first started, it was just me. I was working another full-time job. I did that balancing act for about 6 months, but I had a newborn at the time. So unfortunately, I had lost my child care and said, let's see what happens. And quit my full-time job and just put everything I had into knife making. The first knives were not so great.
Everybody starts somewhere.
Everybody's got to start somewhere, but along the lines, Bree and Libby we worked together to change the design a little bit. We kind of honed in our skills and have created what you see today.
Oh, really cool. Yeah, it's always fascinating to hear how people get into their craft and artistry. And now, do you also carve as well? Since your grandfather was a carver, did you kind of grow up with that?
We grew up with it, but we kind of started running out of time to do it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, we
That
both,
makes
I think
sense.
we were in our, early teens. I think I was maybe about 12 when I got my first real cheapo wood carving knife. I think everybody has one of those, with the riveted blade hanging out the back, the tang hanging out the back.
Yeah.
And that was my starter knife. I think I still have it somewhere on a shelf. But yeah, we started carving in our early teens and got hauled around to all the, spring break, summer vacation was filled with traveling with our grandparents to all the various carving shows that they attended, a lot of seminars. So we got to meet a lot of instructors along the way.
yeah, I think you kind of paved the way for Grandpa wanting me to get into it. She's the
Yeah.
oldest grandchild. I'm the youngest. So
Mhm.
there's enough of a gap there that when she was in high school, then out of high school, it was time for the
That's her
youngest to
turn.
start
Yeah.
coming into the shows.
Yeah. But, as you get older, life gets in the way and you have to get things like jobs and
Of course.
families get in the
Yeah.
way. And, so in my 30s, I kind of came back to it, which I'm kind of hearing from a lot of people, in their 30s, they're starting to come back to it. So that's cool.
That's
I'm
really
happy to
cool.
see some younger folks getting into it too, the more we travel around.
Yeah, there's a lot more online presence too than we expected the last couple of years.
Hmm.
Yeah, the online definitely exploded things in terms of all these crafts. There's just it's a huge resource for people to connect and learn and experience things.
Yeah. I mean,
Um,
honestly, as long as we've been involved in carving, for me, COVID was probably the best thing to happen to the wood carving community. I won't even lie.
oh yeah. Yeah.
Bringing everybody
That's
together.
one of the other things that's mentioned constantly in every
Yeah.
episode is not just your blades, but the impact of COVID in the craft. A lot of people really kind of um, expanded their horizons with what they were learning and how they experienced things, and um, it's crazy just how many things were kind of born
Yeah.
out of that.
Well, and a lot of teachers we hear from too, they had to change how they do their things. They couldn't do in-person classes. They pushed themselves to do online classes to make things work, and it's become a really big resource for a lot of people too,
Yeah.
not having to travel so far.
Yeah, even Blake Lunsford's International Woodcarvers Association was a COVID born thing, and
Right.
he he's been going strong with that for 6 or 7 years at this point.
Hmm.
So yeah, it's amazing. As difficult as the time as that was for everyone, there was some good positive things that came out of it.
I agree.
Um, One thing I really like about your story is the family involvement, from your grandfather to close personal friends. Now you to your cousin, and um, is there any chance your future kids might want to take over? Are they old enough to
Well, she's got a boy,
want to?
and the boys, our brothers, didn't want anything to do with carpet. So not keeping our hopes up with that one.
Yeah. Well, I have a 5-year-old. He runs around the shop, but he mostly likes monster trucks. I feel like he'll probably follow his father into the mechanics or driving a big monster truck or something like
Yeah.
that.
Oh, that's cool. So I come from a wood shop background, and at that company that I used to work for, we had to custom make our own molding, and we had a shaper machine, and we custom made our own knives. So um, I was able to take steel and cut it and shape it to the profiles and grind it and stuff. So I have a little bit of knowledge when it comes to I guess you could call it knife making, but it's not really what you guys do. It's a more crude version of it. But it's a tough thing to be a part of. I mean, steel's not easy to work with. It's hard, it's dirty, it's greasy. The one thing that I would always annoy me is when I would grind it to sharpen it. The sparks hitting my forearms and you're itchy, and it just was not a pleasant thing. But so I give you guys a lot of credit for doing that.
Yeah,
Can't
we've
be easy.
definitely throughout the years, we've definitely added some uh safety features, protective gear along the way. When we started, I didn't really I mean this
We didn't have that machine either.
this business predates a lot. When I purchased this home, it was sold as is, and it was actually purchased from a wood carving family. There were so many wood carving tools and bandsaws, sanders, things that were left in the house that I acquired with the purchase of the home that actually got put into use when I started the business. Um, so I didn't have a dust collector when I started. I had like a 1 by 42 inch sander that I was sharpening on. Um, a beat up old sander and an old Craftsman bandsaw. We've upgraded quite a bit since then, and
Well, that's
we've
when
got
you were
the
hand-cutting steel.
hand cutting steel from a stick, yeah, with the angle grinder. But since then, we've added a dust collector. We're wearing face masks and
Machine.
the protective gear. I had a pretty bad allergic reaction to some of the adhesive we use.
Yeah.
Oh
So,
no.
some of the wood we use can be pretty toxic. Um, can be absorbed through your skin pores, which is crazy. If you at home knife makers, be careful what kind of woods you're using. That's all I've got to say.
Yeah.
You don't want to breathe in a lot of that stuff, and you don't want it on your skin.
Yeah, no. Yeah, especially those exotic woods, they get really
Yes, very
really
much.
funky, really toxic fast.
Yes.
They'll make you dizzy and sick, and
Hmm.
yeah. No, that's really cool. I'm always fascinated by the tools and the equipment that's used to make the tools. And um, yeah, I see. I've only ever seen your stuff online, and they look beautiful. There's really high attention to detail in them, and yeah, I heard they cut like a dream.
Well, we do have some here to show off if you'd like. They're not sharp yet, so
Yeah.
don't never fear.
Not
Oh,
shiny.
that's
They're
fine.
not shiny yet, but we have the handles finished. We can show off some of that exotic wood that's toxic.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Tools or knives first.
Ooh, let's see. Let's show off some knives, dude.
So did you start initially with just knives and
Yeah.
then worked your way into the tools?
Yes. So when I started, I was like I mentioned, I was hand cutting all the blades from a 1/2 inch stock bar of tool steel, which is the material we still use. It's the steel that OCC uses. It's the steel Denny used. It's just what we like to use. When I was hand cutting with a grinder, we were just this shape here is what we call the roughing blade. So that was
Hmm.
what I was hand cutting. Um, and then from there, um, I actually was able to work with a company here in Wisconsin that water jet cuts all of our blanks. So we can maintain with the volume we're doing, we want to have consistency, a standardized shape, form, that kind of stuff. You don't really get that with hand cut stuff. So uh, from
Yeah.
from the rough out knife, we expanded with the detail blades. So this is the 1 inch detail blade. It's 1/4 inch stock, so it's half the size of the rough out knife. And then we also had the chip carving blades because that's a whole other world in itself with
Yes, it is.
that curvature of
Oh,
the
those
blade.
are really cool.
But recently we did add a bunch of new shapes, all stemmed off of one design that we called the Goldilocks. We call it the Goldilocks because it's cut from 3/8 stock, so that makes it fall right in between the rough out and the detail blade. It is a Goldilocks because it's not too big and it's not too small, but it is just right.
Just
Um,
right. Oh,
it's
very
just right.
cool.
So many people requested that before we did it. We've had to.
Yeah. So then,
Yeah,
hmm,
I've heard of the Goldilocks before, and people say it's probably the one to get, because I guess it's like you said, it falls in the middle. It's just right.
yep, yep. So then we modified that Goldilocks blade to make the clipper. We just kind of scooped out the front there to give it just a little bit different tip for you. And then we also have the cliffhanger. This one just has the different tips there. So those are the three that fall right in the middle, the 3/8 stuff. And then, of course, the blade that Jonathan Creason was talking about, the Cutty Sark. This is a
Yeah.
modified roughing blade, so it's 1/2 inch stock back by the handle here, right here at the heel, and then it's got the swoop to the tip, so it's like a detail blade and a rough out blade all in one. This is some people have been calling it the Holy Grail. So
It's been very popular.
yes, it definitely did turn into a bestseller real quick. Um, with the expansion of our blades, we expanded on some of our handle shapes as well. Um, let's see here. We had I had three that we started with. The signature handle, which is just a straight handle, and then we have the fishtail and the duck butt. So the signature and the duck butt are quite similar. They're just both a straight cut. The duck butt, we just shave the butt off. And then the fishtail tapers a bit from what the signature is just straight. The fishtail kind of a little fatter butt, so it fills the palm of your hand a little bit more. Um, from there, for the chip carving knives, we needed to. Don't know if we've ever chip carved before or not, but the way you hold the chip carving knife, your finger naturally falls right in this groove here with the angle you use the blade. So we used modified the duck butt and we added a little finger groove here, only on the chip carving knives, just because it helps you hold it properly. And then I was approached by a Wisconsin chip carver. Her name is Charlene Lynham. She has lots of articles posted in Woodcarving Illustrated often. But she came up with this handle shape. It's called a chipper gripper. So again, it just the shape of it lends just like falls right in your hand the way you're supposed to hold it.
Interesting.
Um, let's see, and then we've modified a lot of things along the lines. This is our palm knife. It's just the signature handle cut down to the same size as our uh, palm size tool, so it's 3 1/4 inch handle. Also a suggestion made to us by a friend. It seems like the best luck we have with things are suggestions from our friends and customers. So
That's where most things.
yeah, we
I
definitely invite people
think it's
to
great
share.
that you yeah, I think it's great that you actually take the advice from the people who are buying your tools, and you're not staying stuck in a particular lane, and you're just always trying to adapt and create new handles or blades. I think that's really cool. Um,
It's the name of the
yeah,
game.
Yeah.
yeah,
And
yeah.
of course,
Because
when
even
you
though you're
release
not,
one, then somebody requests something else. So
Yeah.
of course, yeah, because everyone has their own particular styles and hand shapes and stuff, so it's got to be hard to try to anticipate what people would want.
Yeah, it really is. When we this time of year, when we're traveling around to all the different shows, we have a little stash we call our show stock. Along the way, we just build an extra couple of knives that we can kind of stash and get ready for show season. And
Yeah.
it's always hard to guess what people are going to want. Every time we go to a show, we get the comments of, "Oh, you don't have this or you don't have that." Well, we can't have everything all the time.
It's hard. Yeah, you're not a big company where you're mass producing things either.
Yeah,
Like
well,
you're
and with
just
the
your
stuff that
hand
we
making
had,
everything.
yeah, the stuff that we had left over last year is stuff that we can't keep on the table this year. It's all
yeah,
like it sells out right away. So
Doesn't seem
Yeah,
like there's a rhyme
it's
or reason to it.
Right.
yeah. And that's the thing when I'm trying to buy these knives because I don't ever get to any of these trade shows. My life's a little bit too hectic at the moment, so I can't get to them. And so I'm forced to either buy them online, and it's overwhelming sometimes to see all the different options. And then there's wood options and color options and handle shapes and this blade and inch and a quarter, 2-inch blades. So sometimes it's kind of hard to know or justify spending the kind of money that involves a high end knife when you don't really know what to expect out of it. So that's the trouble I have, and I'm sure many others have that as well who can't get to these shows. For people like me and those people, what is something you would suggest, specifically with your knives and handles? Is there a particular handle shape that I guess is
Well,
like one size fits all type?
I mean, first off, I would suggest that if anybody has any questions, they can reach out to us via email. We're happy to help people along the way. Um, and we have been known to customize knife handles for people, not shapes, but we have made shorter handles to help fit somebody's hand better.
Longer.
Longer handles, shorter handles. Um, I
Very
used
cool.
to say the signature was probably the best, just because uh, it's just an all around. It's a straight handle. You can't go wrong with it. Okay. Um, the duck butt, I would say for somebody with maybe shorter hands. I was told, uh, it was mentioned that what's comfortable in your hand, it really has to do with how your pinky grips it. So if you have shorter hands or smaller hands, a woman, a child, where your pinky falls is right on that curve there. So if you have bigger hands, the signature handle would be better for you because there's more to grab onto, I guess. Um, but somebody just starting out, honestly, I would suggest the signature blade. Or, sorry, the signature handle. Just a straightforward handle. Other than that, maybe our longhorn. This is the longhorn handle. I This is the one I believe Jonathan Prieston was talking about as well. I think this is honestly his holy grail right here, the longhorn handle with the cutty sark blade. The curvature really kind of just like fills your palm when you put it in there. It just fits
Mhm.
right in your palm. Wrap your fingers around it. It's like a hug.
Yes.
One other blade that comes up a lot is your eraser tool.
Oh,
I've been hearing a lot of great things about that,
oh yes.
and I'm curious to know how that came to life.
How this came to life. Jim Heiser, caricature carver from Pennsylvania. We met him along the way, but we had some conversation with him in Utah at the Rocky Mountain Woodcarvers Roundup one year, and he had said it sure would be nice if there was a flat tool. I think what he was using it mostly for was on his rough outs, like in between feet on the base to kind of smooth it out. It's sometimes really hard to get your knife in there at the right angle. So we created a flat, straight tool that just, um, gets in between there um, and sharp on this edge. So you just push with it, to be used at different angles than a knife. It's basically like a knife being flat, but you can get it in different areas.
Yeah, yeah. So to me, it kind of looks like a very thin bench chisel,
Yep.
um, which I guess is what it is. It's flat on one
Yep.
side, and then it has the angle on the other.
Correct.
Oh, okay.
hmm
Yeah. Yeah, I've been hearing a lot of great things for that, mainly for people roughing out their carvings
Yep.
when they just need to hog out a lot of material. But yeah, it would also make sense to use it as like a form of flattening bases or other aspects.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Well,
really cool.
we our grandfather, he was a big relief carver, not he did some in the round stuff, but he did a lot of relief carving. So the tools we were used to using too were flat, flat chisels, lots of gouges. Um one of the first classes I took was John Engler, based out of Missouri, popular relief carver. We with the erasers, we've got them all the way from like 1/8 inch and 1/4 inch to get into, we're friends with lots of bark carvers too that have just like little picks to get behind little things. It's something you wouldn't think of. We've gotten lots of emails that are like, what would you use that tool for? You could pretty much
Find
use
your
it
own
for
purpose.
anything, any little thing you need it for. But um, yeah, that's how the eraser started. Just another offhanded comment about that sure would be nifty. So we did
Interesting.
that.
That kind of reminds me. I'm not sure if you're familiar with a man named Jimmy DiResta.
It does
So
not ring a bell.
so Jimmy DiResta is really big in the maker community. He does it all. Um, he welds, he sews, leather, woodworking, construction. He's kind of a really big legend um, in the maker community. And he many years ago developed an ice pick, which is nothing innovative, but he created an ice pick. It has a little sheath and puts it in his pocket. He made little mini versions of it and stuff. And people would always ask him, "Well, what would you use an ice pick for?" And he was like, "Just carry it for one day." And he was like, "And you'll realize you'll use it for anything, picking your teeth or using it to scrape things, opening paint cans." So it kind of reminds me of your eraser tool, that it kind of a jack of all trades
Yeah,
thing. Um,
there's no
yeah,
rules
I
to our
definitely
tool.
want one of those.
Yeah.
Yeah, or any tool for
Right.
that fact. You know what's really interesting to me is, I mean, even though you guys don't really carve, you're very much part of the wood carving world. You're at every show, you know all the major names, so you're friends with them, you talk to them, you cater to their needs with knives. And I think it's just amazing how two completely separate hobbies and interests can kind of collide together like that.
Well, and a
Um,
lot of these people watched us grow up. Like this is not like a
yeah.
oh we
Yeah.
made a connection last year. Like a lot of these people, we were down at Woodcarving Congress sleeping under tables for setup. Like it was like we were always there. So it's just as much of a reunion for people in the community aspect to go to the seminars and see people once a year or whatever.
Yeah, and that's great because it really is like a family, that I'm starting to realize. Everyone knows each other. They see their kids grow up, and um, yeah, and it's just it's really interesting, and it's really cool to kind of see that wood carving and knife making just brings everyone together in that community. Um, and the shows look like a lot of fun. They definitely seem like a lot of fun. A lot of work, I'm sure,
Yeah.
especially as a vendor. So I've done pop-up markets where I sell my work, which I'm sure many carvers have done, but I know exactly how exhausting it can be. You're carrying inventory, things break, you forget things, your table isn't set up right, or you're not happy with how it looks. Like there's so many things involved. There's people trying to haggle with you or make deals, or so I can definitely understand the pitfalls of selling. So I commend you on doing that many, many times a year. And traveling across the country can't be easy either. I haven't done that.
Yeah.
2 to 3 hour shifts now.
Yeah, we've been switching off. It's not terrible when there's not just one person driving,
Last year was pretty rough.
but we make it do, make it work.
So one of the main things that comes up in the carving world is sharpening issues. That's the main struggle. People either can't sharpen or can't figure out how to learn properly, and it takes an extremely long time. In fact, most people quit carving due to having dull blades. Is there anything that you can recommend? Because obviously, you guys are masters at sharpening tools.
Honestly,
Um,
I don't know how to sharpen. So Ashton it really is a skill that you build. Anybody can sharpen, but it is a skill that you have to work at and you have to find your own way. But because I mean, do you sharpen exactly how Denny taught you?
No,
No.
no.
So
Uh, um,
yeah, it's a very personal.
Yeah, it's definitely
personal
something
matter.
that's been developed over the last couple of years. I do all of my sharpening on a 2-inch wide belt sander, so I don't think a lot of our customers have the same kind of sharpening setup I do. But most of the time, you just need to maintain a good knife with stropping it. As long as you're using the blade correctly, not prying with it or, poking and flicking with your blade and slicing, your knife should stay pretty sharp for a very long time. I would recommend starting at least with a decent quality blade. I wouldn't start with anything less than a flex cut, that's for sure. Um, I know a lot of independent makers have a long lead time. So if you're trying to get started carving, we understand that you want a tool right away. So the best thing to do is either go to a show, a trade show where you can find a vendor, whether it's independent knife maker or just one of the many vendors that stock some of those makers' tools. Like um, Bob Statlander has been traveling to a lot of different shows, making all the rounds. He carries lots of different tools. Um, that's another way you could get a tool in your hand instead of ordering online as well. And go to a show and check out what fits your hand, and then possibly order online if they don't have what you want. But um, like I said, there's lots of different vendors out there that have stuff in stock from independent makers. If you're trying to get started, like I said, a flex cut or a quality uh, beginner knife, like Badger State blades. For a beginner knife, we would recommend probably the Cutty Sark at this point. Like we said before, it's a great all-around blade with the beefiness of the heel and the detail tip. But I don't know what else to say about it.
I don't know. I mean, yeah, like the Cuddy Sark for beginners isn't bad. I mean, it's a lot of these people too that we see don't like to swap out their tools. The more you have to reach for a different tool, the more you're taking away from your carding. So, um,
Right. But the more often you're using your knife, the more you'll have to strop it.
true.
Which is how we got started on
Yes.
this conversation. Uh, so like I said, just like maintaining your knife with a leather strap. It's been said to me before too, like if you remember way back in the day at barber shops and the barber would have a straight edge razor and just kind of like on the leather, and that's how you clean it. Because if you put the edge of a blade under a microscope, it does look like a serrated blade. So when you strap it, you're not really sharpening your blade at all. What you're doing is cleaning off those teeth. And that's how I think people should really think about strapping their blade when they strap it. When you're pulling it along it, you're actually cleaning the edge of your blade, not sharpening it. And that's why you should do it the same on both sides. And don't ever curl your blade when you pull it up off of the strap, because that will roll your edge and dull your blade, which I think is probably a lot of beginners' problem as well.
Yeah, I think they're using too much pressure on the leather.
Yep.
They're pressing down really hard.
Yep.
So one other thing that comes up in the stropping realm is there's a big debate whether you should use your leather rough side or smooth side.
Well, I think you're supposed to use both sides. I think you're supposed to use the
Yeah,
rough side first and then switch over to the smooth side to kind of polish it up. But another thing,
that's
folks,
what I do.
another thing I think folks should remember, but have become accustomed to, is that shiny does not equate to sharp. Some people do suspect that like a matte finish blade is going to drag through the wood, but it does not. If it doesn't leave streaks behind, it is not sharp. Shiny is a preference. I know a lot of people prefer that, and that is totally fine. But if you're sharpening at home, I wouldn't worry about getting it shiny, because that doesn't mean you're getting it sharp, I guess is what
It's
I'm trying to say.
it's cosmetic.
Yeah.
It's preference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think a lot of beginners get hung up on the mirror finish
Yeah.
aspect of
Well,
it because
yeah.
they see that's how it
It is
comes
nice.
out of the box.
Yeah.
It is
Well,
It is, yeah.
we do have people come up to the table and ask, what grit does Ashton go up to? And I just say 80. That's it. Like, and they're like
Because you're coming right off the
dumbfounded.
belt.
Yep.
Well, yeah, and people are dumbfounded because it's like, well, I thought it was supposed to go up to 600, 800.
You really can't. You can sharpen up to 4,000 grit and use whetstones and stuff, but That is not practical for
That is a
the
hobby if you
yeah.
enjoy
Mm,
doing that. That is if
yeah,
you yeah,
interesting. Yeah, that's definitely some good advice, especially for the beginners, because sharpening again is something that always trips up beginners, and they end up quitting or getting frustrated, or they think the tool needs to look mint condition or pristine, so they're chasing something that is just
Right.
not
Well,
attainable for them,
uh, we've
at
seen it
least in that moment.
ourselves with sharpening around the country. People will bring a toolkit to us and say that they just received it and it doesn't cut wood and it's a no name, no brand, something that somebody bought at a lovingly for a Christmas present or something from a hobby store that there's not even a sharp edge on that tool. No wonder people get frustrated. The tools aren't coming sharp
Yeah,
out of the package. That's why I'm saying it's if you're really interested in getting started with carving, it is worth spending the money on at least a name brand knife to enjoy the hobby to get started.
I agree. Yeah, like you mentioned, FlexCut. FlexCut is a great brand. I think it's, they make good quality tools that will last you a lifetime if you take care of it. Um, it might be a little difficult for them to justify buying a high-end independent knife maker tool, especially with a lead time, like you said. They want to get into the carving world, and I think, yeah, buying one of those readily available knives is the way to go, and get comfortable with carving and the knife and sharpening, because you don't want to buy a high-end knife and then you don't know how to properly maintain it.
Right.
You're just gonna end up destroying it. Well, not really destroying it, but it'll be dull. They can't get it back to sharp, and they're gonna get frustrated. They'll be upset that they spent more money than they would on a cheaper version. Um, yeah, so it makes a lot of sense.
I think that's why we try to
Sorry.
keep our like low end as low as we can
Yeah.
for our budget options. I mean, we have stuff all the way from what 40, 50 to 120 for those collectors that already have everything and just want something pretty to add in their bin.
I will say that is one
Yeah,
thing that we try to maintain as a good. I think we started out as trying to be something affordable, and we did. We have a low end, and there's something for everybody. Um, that we work with. Like we said, we mentioned exotics earlier, but we work with plenty of domestic woods too that are on the low end, and we get some real fancy stuff that make really good gifts.
yeah, yeah. You definitely have a wide range. When I was on your site and checking things out, you do have very affordable knife options, considering that you're an independent knife maker.
Right. Yeah.
But you do have the higher end stuff, which it does explain using the exotics, and maybe there's some extra things you put into the knife to justify it. So I do like that you do think of every realm of the craft for the cater to the beginners as well as the collectors and the higher end carvers. So that is it is cool. I think you have a really great company and business. You guys definitely care about what you do, and it definitely shows within the community because everyone keeps talking about knives.
Well, that's why we're like going around too. I mean, everyone who can, I don't know, everyone we can make an impression on. I mean, we want people to know us as much as they can. Not a lot of people are traveling anymore.
Yeah.
We want to do it while we're young.
Well, I think we really do like making that personal connection. It's different than texting or just emailing. I've been doing most of the communications, so I recognize somebody's name when I meet them, or we do notice when we've seen multiple orders from the same person. All the time.
Yeah.
We don't necessarily have the time anywhere, like personally reach out, but it is nice to make that personal connection when we can and thank people. And uh, when you see us, you really are just you're supporting us and our families.
Yeah.
That's what you get.
Yeah, that's great.
Well, I don't know if you knew this, but Ashton does all of our metal work.
Oh, yeah.
She does all the heat treating and tempering process of our blades, which a lot of other makers, nothing bad about it, but it's home done. It's done in the shop, so that's something we're proud of.
Yeah, I guess that is
Yeah,
something that
that's something
makes
I
me.
didn't think about.
All the steel comes in. Like I said, it's, our blanks are water jet cut, but it's only a tiny little shortcut for us. Once we get the blanks, there's still a stock removal process that goes into it. I harden it. It gets heat treated, tempered. Every blade gets tested. They all come out to our Rockwell 38. They are all assembled by me. Libby shapes every single one. If it's painted, she painted it. There isn't much that's not done by hand around here.
Yeah.
Every single blade is tested before it leaves the shop. I check. I carve. People ask if I carve, and I do carve. I make a lot of chips. I just don't have many finished pieces. I take a big old stick and make it into a little toothpick, usually. But
That's cool. Yeah, you just got a bunch of paper shavings all over your floor.
yeah,
Just slicing papers in half.
yeah, wood chips everywhere. Yeah.
Do you test it based on one of those? I see it online all the time. It's like a little machine with a wire, and they
We
slice the
have
wire.
used one, but we don't do that for every.
No, our blades, I test the hardness with hardness files. It's just like a scratch file. I don't know if you've watched the show, Forged in Fire at all, but sometimes they check hardness and they're
Yeah,
scratching it. That's a scratch test for hardness. And then there is a sharpness tester that's a little wire to slice to see how much force it takes to push the blade through the wire. But we don't have one of those here. I carve with every single knife that leaves the shop to make sure that it's sharp. There's no burrs. It will cut wood when it leaves here.
it's great. Yeah, it's a real personal touch to each knife. You're putting all that hard work and effort into each one. Um, the heat treatment to it. So I guess you temper it. I guess you bake it in an oven,
Yes.
or you put it in a fire, or how does that work?
So I have a propane forge. That's the hardening process. The blades get cooked in the forge and quenched. That's what hardens the blade. And then they go into an oven and bake, and that's what brings the temper back. It brings them to a 58.
There's a lot of technical things I guess I never really thought of, the different numbers and things to look out for. What do you do with the knives that don't meet the standard?
None of them
Can you like
don't meet the standard.
There's we don't yeah if the blade doesn't meet the standard, it doesn't really get made. Yeah. There's a pile of whoopsies that whether there's been a lot of learning along the ways. Like I said early on, Denny, he did get me started. He taught me enough to be dangerous, and then he kind of set me free and said,
"You got this."
Yeah.
About it.
Yeah,
best way to learn.
He's always there to call if I need to like brainstorm something, but it's all been a lot of I did have a batch of knives that was not tested, and it turns out they were not correct, and I had to learn how to fix them on the fly, and I did, and we were successful, and that's all that matters.
So you are able to actually rework them and get them right?
So yeah, she was able
Like
to
if
figure out a way to retemper the blade while it was still in the handle. Because the way that ours are made, you can't just
Oh, I
pop
see.
it open.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't crack the handle open and redo it?
Right.
No.
Hmm. Interesting. All right, so there's like every carver, you have a bucket full of rejected projects.
Yep. But you know what? The
All right.
learning happens in the mistakes.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
I don't know. The more mistakes you make, the more you learn, or the faster you learn, I guess. You
And
adapt and overcome.
those rejects are good opportunities to practice things like sharpening and
Yep.
refining handles and things like that. You can play with them and, instead of digging into new material and wasting resources, you can always
Right.
adapt those into learning experiences.
Well, and last year we did some during show season, the ones that were a little bit different. We would put a daisy on it, and that was a whoopsie daisy. So
Okay.
it just means you can't get a replacement. Basically, that's one of a
Yeah.
kind.
Handcrafted tools aren't always 100% perfect. We're not machines, clearly. Um,
Yeah.
perfection doesn't exist. Our stuff isn't made by machines. We don't have a certain tolerance. Everything's made by hand and made till it's workable, I guess. That sounds bad. Our product is good. It's high quality. But
Yeah.
sometimes there is a mistake that happens, or some of our blades were cut too short in the handle, and when they glued up, they sunk in. So some blades, you'll notice our blade, it's called a sharpening choil. It's this little notch right before it goes into the handle. Um, there's
Mhm.
like right there is what we call a sharpening choil. Some blades don't have that. So what I'm saying is sometimes we'll glue it up, the blade will sink down and that choil disappears. So I'll put a daisy on it and call it a whoopsie daisy. There's not actually anything wrong with the knife. It's just not, it doesn't pass our quality control, I guess. So we do sell it at a discount at some shows.
Well, and that's the beauty about handmade. There's perfection in the imperfection. I mean, all of these things that are handmade, the reason they look so appealing is because they're not perfect. They're not made by machine. You know, the eye isn't meant to view things perfectly. And I learned that in the picture frame world, which is my background. Is, you know, these picture frames were made by hand hundreds and hundreds of years ago by people without machines and tools,
Right.
and at least the tools we have now. And you know, I worked with a guy, and he said, I'm going to butcher the quote and how he said it, but he said something along the lines of, um, we try to make things look perfect, but he's like, our job isn't to be perfect, it's to fake perfection and blend things in a way where it looks like it was made perfect, but it's not. Because things don't always come out square and they don't come out pin straight or
Right.
um so yeah, it was very interesting. I wish I could remember exactly how he said it because it sounded way better when he said it than how I did. But
Well, we've really found that we enjoy working with wood, and we really enjoy a lot of the exotics. You know, if you've worked with exotics, you know the grain, the coloration.
It's always so
It's
different.
so different. You know, you can get a lot of different variation with some domestic woods too, maple, cherry, sometimes coloration too, depending on how long it's sat out or how much UV rays it's gotten, how long it's dried for. But it's so it's so fun to see when the knife is glued up, it kind of just looks like nothing, and then you work it through and put finish on it, and you're just like,
Yeah.
there's so much beauty in just like natural imperfection in the wood. If there's like a knot in the
Yeah.
wood,
It's like
it's just
the
like
mhm,
prettiest thing ever because it's like nothing else has that. Why
you
would you
can't
not want
you
that?
can't recreate it.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
yeah, no, and every piece will come out differently, even though it's made with the same templates.
Hmm.
Hmm.
It's just yeah, there's a story behind each one. Yeah, what is amazing, especially when you get into the exotic realm, because I don't think a lot of wood carvers really explore the different woods because you can't really carve
Right.
a lot of them. They're too hard.
Right.
But given that I come from that woodworking background, I've worked with a lot of exotic woods. You know, I have a lathe and I turn exotic woods and bowls
Hmm.
and pens, and you know,
Well,
I've made
even
things out of exotics.
I think spalted maple has turned into one of the favorites
Yeah.
among us and
Yeah,
even
that's a good one.
customers. It's so random, the spalting. I remember there was one knife that we made. Um, it was book matched, and on the butt, it created a heart where the spalting came together. It was the coolest little thing that we didn't even try to do.
I don't think we really realize how
No, no.
Yeah, even to this day, when I get a piece of lumber and it has like a weird, interesting, cool knot in it, I'll slice off that knot and I have like a little bucket of all these strange abnormalities in the wood that I just like because it's just really beautiful to look at. And I always think, oh, maybe I'll make something out of it, but I never do.
well, those
Well,
are the coolest things to make stuff out of, like
yeah,
burls, and it's basically cancer out of wood.
yeah,
Like
crazy.
it's just
Yeah.
weird growth,
Hmm.
and that's what becomes our super expensive knives because they have to get hardened with resin that's vacuumed into it, and but it's so cool, so cool.
Yeah. I found tons of weird things in wood. Nails and bullets, and one time I found a skeleton. Maybe it was a squirrel or a chipmunk.
Oh,
It was like it was a part of like the skull of it.
oh my gosh.
I guess it. Yeah, that was a weird one to come across. Um, so yeah, there's always something interesting inside the wood that has yet to be seen. But where can everyone find your work if they want to follow you?
Well, if they are interested in ordering from us, they can go to badgerstateblades.com. If you are interested in following us on social media, you can find us on Facebook, on Instagram, and we're on TikTok. I do have a Reddit, but I'm not very active on there. Um, we don't have time for YouTube, so don't be looking for us there. Um,
Maybe
or
one day.
Yeah, maybe one day. Or, if you're looking for a tool that you can put your hands on right now, you can check out one of our various dealers. They all have websites. Chipping Away, Treeline USA, Statlander Woodcarving, just to name a few. There's Art from the Bark out in Virginia, Peter in Missouri. And there's Not Hole in Missouri as well.
Very cool. Ashton, Libby, thank you both so much for taking the time to come on and share your story, your process, and the work you're doing. It was really interesting learning about the history of Badger State Blades and about your journey into this craft. Be sure to check out Badger State Blades online and pick up a high end custom knife clearly made with dedication, passion, and love. If you enjoyed this episode, please make sure to follow the podcast and subscribe so you don't miss future conversations with makers and carvers from across the community. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you in the next episode of the Modern Woodcarver Podcast.